And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Now let's focus on that phrase, the whole world. Some individuals feel that they're exceptional in that they can escape this whole idea of being deceived like everyone else. Like there's no way that anyone can pull a fast one on them, get one over on them. You know, no one's deceiving me. I've got my eyes wide open and everything. Even some of us who, call ourselves awake, still fall under the category of being deceived in one thing or another. I'm not sure if anybody has become fully aware of all the deception that takes place in this world. And if you've watched my channel for any length of time, you'll know that one of the things that I always speak about is how we've all been deceived, typically about the shape of the earth. But that's neither here nor there. It's actually everywhere. But I mean, seriously, the earth is flat. That's simple. That's common sense stuff. So I'm kind of I'll hit on that from time to time. But we've all been deceived. I always say that. And the thing that we want to do is look at what most of the world is doing. Look at what most of the world is celebrating. Look at those things, take a close look at them, and then maybe you'll find some of the deception. Some of the things that are widely accepted, down to the most minute details. What we're going to talk about briefly in this video is New Year's. Now, if I understand correctly, ancient civilizations, they pretty much based their societies on their agriculture, their growing seasons. They knew throughout the year there were 4 seasons. There's your season where you'll grow, your season where you'll harvest, there's your season where you'll need to store your crops, because there's a season that also comes where there aren't going to be any crops growing because it's too cold for that. That was pretty much the divide there. And they understood that the year went in this cycle and knew what to look for in the coming seasons based on the point in the year where they were. So being that they used to take a more detailed look, pay more respect to the seasons and their growing cycles, let's look at this whole New Year setup. Now, before we get into that, let's look at another scripture. This is from Daniel 7:25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and he shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws. Now, that verse is speaking about the fourth beast, but we're not going to get into that. Look at the highlighted point there, and think to change times and laws. What that means basically is pretty much we're at a point where a lot of people who've looked into ancient cosmology dating up to recent history would acknowledge that for the most part we don't really know what year it is. Time has been adjusted so many times throughout history. The calendar has been changed so many times throughout history, where it used to be on a cycle where they would have each month broken down into a specific segment, and then time would accumulate so each year, and then come to a point to where maybe after, I believe it was 1460 years, it would snap back to where it would kind of cycle all the way over, because there was always this time left over. That's why we have leap years. So every 4 years we have a whole extra day of a year. So time doesn't just continue to increase like that. But what happens is the breakdown on the months. Let's look at the months that we know of, and what we can do is look back at 4 in particular, and I'll show you these, and maybe you saw this already, maybe you haven't. Let's start with September through December. Okay, now if you look at the numbers, look at the Latin translation for the number, and then look at the correlating month. Okay, so September, or the number 7, okay, in Latin is septem. Okay, the month correlating to that is September. The number 8 in Latin is octo. The month correlating is October. Okay, the number 9 in Latin is novem. The month correlating is November. Okay, the number 10 in Latin is decim, or decim. That's where you have the decathlon. That's 10 different sports. Decathlete, deca. It's 10. DEC is the suffix for that, or the prefix. But the correlating month is December. So that's September, October, November, December. 7, 8, 9, 10. December being number 10. Okay, let's look at that and continue on. So let's say January is the 11th month, and then February will be the 12th month, which would make March the first month, which makes sense because March is the time where spring starts to roll around again. That's when daylight savings time happens. Okay, longer daylight hours are occurring. This makes more sense as March possibly being the actual new year than December, because if we go back to looking at what the ancients observed as far as how they would cycle throughout a year, their new season of growth would occur in the springtime. Okay, during the dead of winter, December 31st or so, bears are still in hibernation. Squirrels have already gathered their nuts and they're in hiding. Okay, plants aren't growing right now. The leaves have already fallen off the trees. Okay, a couple months from now in March, okay, leaves are going to start growing on the trees. The crops are going to start to grow again. Animals are going to be coming out of hibernation. Animals will start to reproduce again. Animals aren't reproducing right now. The birds have flown south for the winter. Okay, it just makes more sense that March would be the beginning of the new year as opposed to December, and it's also indicated that December is the 10th month because we go 7, 8, 9, 10. December, DEC, Deca, December 10th, 11, January, 12, February, and March, the first month. It makes sense to me. So I just wanted to put that out there. But, ask yourself, if we've been deceived about so many other things, why would it be any different with this? Wouldn't that make sense to start the year, or that the ancients would start the year when the crops start to grow again? When plants start to bloom again, when the animals come out of hibernation, right around springtime? Wouldn't that seem like a brand new year starting? That's what would make sense to me on a common sense level, but I'm just a common sense kind of guy. So, that's my question to you. Do you think we've possibly been deceived about when the new year starts? Let me know what you think in the comment section. That's all I got for this one. As always, be good to each other, take care of yourself, and stay flat. I'll see you next time. Thank you.